Dear guests, dear audience, thank you for joining us today at Turkic Energy Union Congress. And our session this hour in time is about the Eastern Mediterranean geopolitics and the peace climate in the region. We have joining us today a distinguished panel of guests. Let me introduce them one by one, starting with Professor Emete Gözügüzelli, joining us from Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Welcome, Professor Gözügüzelli. Thanks for your time and cordiality for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And we have joining us our distinguished guest, Professor Shaul Horev from Haifa University in Israel. Welcome, Professor Horev.
Thank you very much.
As mentioned at the beginning, our panel's discussion today is about Eastern Mediterranean, the shifting geopolitics of the region, changes that have been taking place with regards to foreign policy of all the littoral states in the region, and what, especially the crisis that we've been going through for the past month or so in Ukraine has impacted the region, what sort of implications this might have for the future, in near and long term. So what I will do is I'll give the microphone to each of our panelists and start with a 15-20 minute presentation, followed on by the Q&A session, where we'll expect your questions. If you have comments, please share them during our conversation, and we will be happy to direct them to our guests after their presentations. I would like to start with Professor Gözügüzelli, who is joining us all the way from Cyprus. Thank you once again for your time, Professor. You are at Ankara Sosyal Bilimler University, actually. You're also a professor here in Turkey, in Ankara. I would like to ask your view about how the crisis in Ukraine affect Cyprus stalemate. Let me start by throwing this question to the floor, and if you have a presentation, please feel free to share your screen and we'll be watching you. Over to you, Professor Gözügüzelli.
Thank you very much. Before starting or pointing out the Ukrainian and Russia crisis or war, I would like to give my thanks to the Turkish Energy Strategies and the Policies Center and called TESFAM and the Turkish World Parliamentary Foundation, which organizing this important and valuable meeting. And I would like to express my respects to my colleagues here and sending my best wishes to all who follow us now. So yes, actually my topic is mostly related to the maritime disputes and the opportunities on energy cooperation. And of course, we have, that we have some frozen conflicts in the region, and we can call we can explain many topics, we can give many examples over that issues, but this is not the time to concentrate mostly the conflictual issues, because Ukraine and the Russian crisis showed that, of course, the states in the region, with the auspices of the Turkey especially, it's a really important in this process, because we have seen that despite of the threats and risks, Turkey has been continuing to enhance dialogue and cooperation. And there is a scene and synergy and the positive atmosphere with the efforts of the Turkish foreign policy and the presidency of Turkey. And before starting to make some things, firstly, the goodwill. This is very important in international law and the relations between the states. And desires and dialogue, all of things are very important. And now we are discussing the energy, which energy makes economic and social development. And As a country surrounded by seas on three sides, Turkey has made important breakthroughs in the field of the energy in the land and the sea areas. And of course, like the other countries, Turkey's primary energy demands has increased, and the Turkish Energy Ministry has determined the rate of the increase on an annual basis. So Turkey aims to reduce the dependency on import in energy in terms of the efficient, at least the utilization of the energy resources. So in the face of the unstable developments in our region, and Turkey's political stance based on balance with all countries and its policies which offer cooperation opportunity have actually received as response, which we have seen at least at the end, Turkey and the Israeli rapprochement and the Turkey-Greece negotiations or efforts on the other continents. So the energy plans put forward will not only benefit Turkey, but also the European energy security is very important. So in this context, as it is understood that any energy plan cannot be succeed in the Mediterranean or in the region without Turkey. So Turkey is a country that will provide energy security and supply. So recent discoveries in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea are also hope for global world after the crisis of the region. Turkey is a great chance for the whole world to making or to enhance the diplomacy or to provide the energy security or the energy supply. So Turkey's steps regarding the diversification of energy supply and the rapprochement with both Turkish world and the Mediterranean countries on the axis of the cooperation, especially, renewable energy or the other types of the energy are very important. So this policy, of course, is to ensure peace and stability. So, of course, in medium and long term, Turkey is most important country to sign in new energy projects with other states. Bilateral and multilateral agreements maybe happen because, if you think the TANEP or the TAP projects, you can see that not only Turkey, but also the other European countries, European energy security is provided by those pipelines. And today, a similar rapprochement with Israel has begun. And so this is the very, very positive and the good way to focusing on these issues. So this rapprochement also, I believe that at least it will also affect the relations with other states through this spillover effect. So Turkey is a key path in the future over the maritime trade and the energy activities in the maritime fields. So projects carried out in Turkey have contributed to the energy resources, not only Turkey, but for the region is very, very important. And also the LNG center of Turkey in Mediterranean maybe provide the other facilities in the future. We will see that. So at the end, actually, in this context, I would like to mention a little bit the problematic of the maritime jurisdiction areas in the region. And, the intention and goodwill in the beginning of my speech, I mentioned that it's a general rules of the international law. So this is the important thing in the case of dissolving the maritime jurisdiction. So, the moving away from natural law brings some hard policy or policies and stances or some interpretations. I mean that international courts acts on the basis of the flexibility in law of sea, and the flexibility is fairness, because not all geographies are the same. Not single delimitation methodology is presented in the international courts. So Turkish Ministry of the Foreign Affairs always emphasizes that maritime jurisdictions issues should always be resolved through negotiations. And Turkey reiterates always that policies of cooperation and dialogue are primary. So, as you know, that Turkey is experiencing the most important problem with the Greece, and even in the case of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and the Greek Cypriot administration have the same problems, or in the region you can see the Israel-Lebanon problem, the maritime disputes of the Egypt or the other countries has also maritime jurisdiction disputes. But Turkey's, of course, in this context, it was desired to resolve the problem by convening the president of the Republic of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, offered an idea which all the countries, including the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, can meet and come together and discuss all the problems by the conference. So we should define what are the problems. And of course, all these problems are related to maritime jurisdictions. I mean that it is related to the delimitation of the continental shelf. It is related to the exclusive economic zone, delimitation issues, or sometimes it may be related to the territorial sea. So in this case, we should, if we look at the main problem, the first problem, actually, it is based on the maximalist demands, which we have seen that it has been offered by the Greek Cypriots and also Greece's sides, which has been called the Sevilla map. So it is not legal and binding document, which also accepted by the USA policies and the other of that countries, because Turkish continental shelf has been, published in the United Nations Secretary General, and they offered their all coordinates. But despite of those positive states and clear policy, the other side, Greece wanted to expand its territorial sea, with 12 miles. And sometimes they can claim that Greece claim, of course, we are the part of the UNCLOS, so Turkey is not part of that, so Turkey is not obeying the international law. This is so cheap policies, because of course Turkey is a country and surrounded by seas on the three sides and have maritime jurisdictions as well as the historical rights, because it's part of the international customary law. So since Turkey is not party to the convention, it cannot be said that it does not have the right over the maritime jurisdictions. Why I am saying this? Because Greece has always tried to refusing the natural law principles in international law of the sea, and the flexibility doctrine put forward by the International Court, provides the equity, is rejected by the Greek side. But despite all of them, Turkey always are ready to make some negotiations with Greece with its problems. We don't have only the problems with the territorial sea. We have also the delimitation agreement, the absence of the delimitation of the continental shelf and exclusive economic zone. Also, we have a problem. But I would like to mention another important thing, which UNCLOS mentioned in Article 33 of 1 or 74 Article of 1 in the Convention. It is mentioned that all the nation state engage in the delimitation of adjacent or the opposite boundaries of their continental shelf or exclusive economic zone shall do so by agreement in accordance to the Article 38 of the Statute of the International Court of Justice. And This is the important things. Why? Because UNCLOS giving an order to the all states, you should obey the status of the 38. For what? For the in order for to reach or in order to achieve an equitable result or equitable solution. This is the main logic of the UNCLOS. This is the nature of the UNCLOS. So that's why UNCLOS is not saying any delimitation methodology, it's an compulsory. But in the case of the some domestic laws of the Greek side or the Greek Cypriot administration and their domestic laws, they mention only methodology of the median line, and they refuse the related or relative situations or other things, and they force the other states to make only an agreement in the basis of the median line or the equidistance. So this is not reflects the nature of the UNCLOS. This is not reflects the realities of the region, because geography is not reshaping again. So if I have a time, I can continue, or I can finish in that time.
Thank you, Professor Gözügüzel, for this all-round framing of the geopolitical conjecture and the legal surrounding of Cyprus dispute. It was very valuable for those of us in the audience who may not have necessarily had this in-depth overview of the technical background to it. So great intro. Let me now pass the microphone on to Professor Horev, and then we'll come back to you for the Q&A session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see that I have the presentation.
Yeah, you can share your presentation, Professor Horev.
Yes. I can see the presentation. Wait a little bit.
We can't see the presentation now. Would the technical operator maybe assist?
Now, can you see now?
No.
So wait, please. I check it. Can you ask the technical? No, I know. Okay, that's okay. Let's see.
We can see you on the camera, but not your screen.
Yes, I see. I'll try once again.
Professor Horev, the technical operator says there should be a button on your screen saying share on your browser.
Yes, I push this shell.
Yeah.
And shell, but and then the Windows.
No, if you click on share, it should give you an option to share screen.
Yes, I know. Yes, share screen, and then
Emete Hocam, in the meantime, may I ask you to go on mute if possible, to mute your microphone? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Emete Hocam, while we wait for Professor Horev, may I ask some questions, one or two questions regarding your talk, if possible, just to use our time most effectively? If you can go off mute, I think your microphone is still on mute.
You can ask. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Professor Gözü Güzel'de. Now, I want to go back and touch on this crisis in Ukraine and how it impacts the region, because some people think that this opens a window of opportunity for North Cyprus, for the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, to engage in closer relations with not just Turkic states, but also with Russia. Before that, importantly, last week, the UK's Ministry of Defense published a map of Cyprus. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it shows only the southern part of the so-called Republic of Cyprus, leaving the northern part as a separate entity. Does this signal for change, or should we expect some kind of a geopolitical shift to the long-run status quo on the island?
Actually, of course, the politics is shifting, and the new geopolitical order we are in a new era, which we have seen a new geopolitical order, of course. But it is actually the Russian exploration
what?
of the northern Cyprus or the Turkish Republic of the State.
No,
It's,
stop.
I think that's my opinion. We cannot compare with the Cyprus issue and the Turkish Republic.
You see it now?
Establishment process, because we have lived another things in the past. But Russia is occupied the Ukrainian territories, and then after that declared suddenly and so-called independent states, and they called all the other states which recognize these states, Luhansk and Luhansk, they call. So it is not the same issue. It is related to, at least for us, we have used our self-determination right. Why? Because during the historical process, we have faced many massacres, genocide, and we compelled from the Cyprus Republic in the 1963, and it was very hard for us, at least until the 1974, because in July, 1974 coup d'etat happened, and the republic or the constitution, everything collapsed because the Greece annexed the island to the Greece. So that's why Turkey find the right to intervene the island. You know that. It is not the same if you compare with the Russia and Ukrainian crisis. This is not the same historical process. So, of course, Turkish Republic of Northern State, it's a real state in the context of the Montevideo. Why? Because our community, our people in the Cyprus Island did a referendum, and they preferred to declare their independent state by using its self-determination right. After the 1980s process, the self-determination is a right in the UN. So, today, if you look at the international community, international system, everything has changed, and we have seen that, of course, the United States or United Nations, it's not an system which makes some balance, makes some securities, makes some peace in the world. Everything has changed. So that's why our president, Mr. Erdogan, says the world is bigger than fire. Of course, that is a true thesis. It is the same with the, if you think the Cyprus questions, of course, since the 50 years, we haven't solved the issue. Why? Because the Greek Cypriot side never accepted Turkish Cypriot sovereign rights. That's why we haven't reached any compromise, any valuable agreement with them, because they only says the Turkish Cypriot so-called minority. This is not reflects the realities, because the Turkish Cypriots are settled in the island since the Ottoman conquered the island. So this is not reflects the realities. So in the 1960 period, also we have gained again our sovereign rights by the support and by the guarantee of the Turkey. The Adnan Menderes was the president, the Fatih Rüştü was the foreign ministry. So they provide the right, guarantee right for Turkey at this, and they provide domain or the sovereign rights for the Turkish Cypriots. So this is I think we cannot compare the Cyprus issue and the Ukrainian and the Russian.
Okay.
So that's why I can say that.
Sure. My question was rather about whether do you see any chance of, so for instance, Russia recognizing North Cyprus, or Britain, not maybe diplomatic recognition, but maybe start charter flights to open borders and start direct trade between UK and North Cyprus or Russia?
Actually, we wish to see all of these good positive things, but they are only promise, they are only speech. At the end, we see that only Turkey with the Turkish Cypriots. The world knows very well what is the Cyprus issue, in fact. The world knows very well after the unemployment referendum. Turkish Cypriots has a right because, European Commission promised the Turkish Cypriots, if you say to yes, unemployment, of course, you can get a right to remove the isolation, the embargoes in front of the Turkish Cypriots, but they never
actually carried it out.
Yes, they never did their promise. So, in fact, today, of course, international airport of Ercan will be open in the next future, or you will see the new investments in the island, in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, because of the reason only the Turkey, because Turkey has always been supporting Turkish Cypriots to increase their welfare, to increase their state status, or they always giving a support against some provocation by the Greek Cypriot side, which happened against us. They always making a propaganda in the international arena, and they try to use a pressure against us. But now, with the rising of the Turkish power in the world, Turkish Cypriots find the chance to speak in a high way, which we are a sovereign, we have a state. That's why today our president in everywhere can easily talking. Of course, we have own state because until now, until the Crown-Montana process, we only focus the federation, and we try to find a solution with the federal model. But at the end, nothing has changed.
Nothing happened.
Yes. Yes, I think Professor is ready, or we can continue.
Yes, I think.
Since my ancestors, they speak Cyprus issue, has always been on agenda, and now we are speaking that. So,
and seems that we will continue to speak it for longer.
Yes, I think because it is related to sovereignty. It is related to, on the other side, the supremacy of the island. The Greek side always tries to show they are only they have only right to domain the island, so we are the so-called minority, so this is not reflects the realities, and so that's why we haven't found any solution until now, because they never change their mind, so they should change it. They should look at the positive way. They should respect our human rights, our sovereign rights, etc. That. I think Professor Charles is ready.
Professor Horev, welcome back. Sorry for the technical difficulty you've been having. Will we be able to have a chance to hear your presentation? Are you ready?
No, I see that there is no possibility. We checked it before, and there is no possibility to see the presentation.
Okay.
So let's leave it for today.
I think Professor Horev just left. Maybe he'll come back again. But Professor Gözügüzelli, I know you have just a few minutes left, and then we need to leave the second.
Dear Süha Hocam, I'm always says that good fences make good neighbors. So this is the time to speak that this argument. And since the 1974, there is no any conflict in the island. And Turkey is, as a guarantor power, provides a peace and stability not only for the Turkish Cypriots, for the whole of the Turkish and the Greek Cypriots in the island. And also it it impacts in the region also. You can see that. So now it is a time to cooperation. We can speak. We can establish a dialogue. They should understand us. They should make empathy because we really suffered in the past.
Yes.
Now we are in safety by the guarantor of the Turkey. Turkey provides us our safety, our peace and order in North side. So international community also accepted that by communal status in the island. So that's why they signed both of the parties signed a voluntary agreement in the past. Then they signed the two communal solution in 1977. You know that they accepted bizonal status of the island. So this is the time to respect all borders. This is the time to respect our sovereign rights and to enhance our relations in the future with other states. So actually Islamic countries and the Turkish world countries are ready to pursue with diplomatic relations with us, you know that. So we are lucky in the world. If you compare the world states, we are so lucky because Turkey always stands us, and Turkey is our motherland. So Turkey is not a foreign country. Turkey is very, very important for the Turkish Cypriots, for all the Turkish Cypriots. So we will see what will happen, but the positive desires and hopes will continue. But now we have our own state. This is the very important thing. So we are free, we are in safety, we are ready to connect with the other international communities and the states with the support of the Turkey. So, now we have expanded our relations with the Pakistan because, Turkey always stands us. Turkey provides us these facilities in diplomatic way. Now everything is changing in the world. So, of course, Turkey is a not global power. I think Turkey is Turkey not regional power, sorry. It's a global power, I think, because you can see its position in many international governance organization. So by the crisis of the Ukraine and the Russia, you see Turkey position is really important. And so
it's become a pivotal actor in the region, like be able to balance all different interests and apply this active neutrality quote that puts Turkey at the really center of the geopolitics in the region.
Of course, this is very important. The balance has been established and continued.
I'm not sure if we will have the chance to hear Professor Korev, but if you have a few more minutes, Professor Gözügüzelli, I would like to ask one more question to you. And this is regarding energy deposits or so-called potential reserves in the Eastern Mediterranean. There is much talk nowadays of this rapprochement between Israel and Turkey and whether Israel can export gas through Turkey to Europe. Now, looking at the map, such a project would require the consent of coastal states that have jurisdiction over the exclusive economic zones. And you're an expert in this field. In order to delineate the course of the pipeline, one needs consent of those states and possibly even the Greek Cypriot administration. Do you think, for instance, they can be assuaged to approve such an arrangement, or would they be willing to participate into this project?
Yes, it is good questions.
It's a $1 million question, I know, but I mean, I think your views are very important.
Actually, there, of course, We have faced maritime jurisdiction disputes with the Greek Cypriot administration also, you know that. But there are some proposals to export gas via pipeline and as liquefied natural gas or from Eastern Mediterranean. Actually, the common interest, I think, is on top of the agenda of the world, and at least for the Turkey and Israel, they discuss it, their mutual and the common interest over that issue. So if the parties has agreed to pursue or to develop their pipeline projects, I think they will find a way to enhance it, because this is the time, at this, the constructive steps to create synergy on cooperation over energy security. It is very important. But of course, the several factors may influence those steps, such as, of course, Israel and Lebanon also has the maritime disputes. But at the end, in the world, some alternatives can create, such as the joint development zone for pipelines may be created in the future, at least for the drafted. I don't know which position they decided to enhance it, because if they wanted to line their pipelines from the other countries' maritime jurisdictions, they should also show its consent. But the freedom of the laying the pipelines or the cables, of course, and international rules. But I think Turkey and Israel put all of these things on the agenda, and I know, at least I guess that they discuss it, all the alternatives and disadvantages on that issue. So the export may be happen with the, in the past, the Haifa project has been offered. So again, it can come to front, and I believe that it would be bring peaceful and peace, at least for the region, because at least the energy security for the region, because the goodwill, we have seen a goodwill which happened in the region.
I totally agree. I mean, there is a lack of goodwill on some of the parties, but I think there is a ripe environment. There is a window of opportunity, a narrow one, albeit, that presents a suitable, ground for parties to come to at least some sort of common understanding on the outstanding issues. This has been one of the things that what one party sees as an issue, the other doesn't. And I think you're right. So the Turkish CPs have been unfairly subjected to embargoes and all sorts of ostracization from the international community, which doesn't bring them equally onto the same table. So the other side comes much more empowered with the backing of the international community, which is unfair. So I think the ground is firm for Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and Turkey to stand by their positions and protect their interests. I think we're in a stronger position than let's say 10 years ago, let's say, when we were. So I totally agree. Thank you very much for your comments, insights, and sharing with us your expertise, Professor Gürüzade. I think Professor Korev is unable to join us. There's this technical issue ongoing with the presentation deck. So if you would like to share your final comments, thoughts, please do with the audience, and then we can wrap up the session. Over to you.
Yes, actually, Turkey never ignored the other neighboring rights over the maritime jurisdiction. And Turkey has always been using its positive stance in the region. Turkey is ready for making some cooperation on energy with, for the conservation, exploitation, and the exploitation. Also, Turkey has a power to make these things in its continental shelf. So actually, we hope to see all the both sides to sit and talk their disputes. And of course, the Israel and the Turkey's possible pipeline projects could serve the interest of the both sides, even for the European security. And of course, the stability and security are a condition of the peace and the cooperation over that issue. Actually, it seems at least the sine qua non for vital interest for the whole countries. And Turkey is only a logical way in the region. And we have seen, many positive steps during this crisis. So this is really the positive way, and it provides the predictability for all parties. And actually, at the end, I can say that energy, we hope that provides rapprochement for all parties in the region, because Turkey wants it, and Turkey never desired to capture the other countries' sovereign rights or occupy or in other things which some black propaganda is using against Turkey. All these things is not reflects the realities. We have seen the Turkish position, especially in these critical period. But we can see and say easily, of course, our region is a very critical, is in the very critical process, and only Turkey using its positive way, which obeying within the context of the obeying the international rules and norms. We have seen Turkey always calling all the parties and insisting to using the rule and norms of the international law. So this is important thing.
Yeah, and one last comment from my part. I mean, the Greek side has been, defending the view that there is only one international law, which is UNCLOS. And you are an expert on it, but there isn't. Like, I mean, there is not just one law. It's customary law. There is coded law, and there is arbitration law, which is the best cases of dispute settlements at the International Court of Justice or the Tribunal of Law of the Sea. So those all together make up this how should we say, this paradigm of international law. It's not just the written coded law in UNCLOS that matters. Would you agree with this?
The status of the Article 38 is so clear.
Mm-hmm.
First, the international agreements. The secondly, international customary law. And the thirdly, the general rules of norms, general principles of international law. And then, the second paragraph, it also the doctrine and the case law is another sources of international law. And is the second paragraph of the statute, it's related to equity. So until the UNCLOS, the equity was the main principles for the all parties, because there were no rules. Of course, in the UNCLOS, you can see the equity rules, which stated in the 38 and the 74, which order the all states, the equitable result is necessary. If you reach any agreement, you should obey it. So UNCLOS is not an only legal sense. Of course, it includes the technical sense. So if you want to obey the norms or rules in legal sense, you should also follow the technical way. So all of these are we should evaluate with together. So the sources of the international law is clear, and you are so right, and you mentioned that. So there is no any one rule in the case of the methodologies which I mentioned before. So Turkey is stand with international law.
Thank you, Professor Gözügüzelde. Those were all my questions. So I'm looking at the audience. We have no additional questions. I think we can. We are now ready to listen to Professor Hore. And yes, he's back with us. Hi, Professor Hore.
Can you see my presentation now?
We see a screen. I think
we haven't seen.
We haven't seen it yet. We see. I think we're ready to see, but we don't see it yet.
I would like only to say one word, and then I'm sorry because I try to cover a lot of things that are happening in our area.
Yeah.
And as we are speaking in Israel, there is the gathering of four foreign ministers from the region with the US Secretary of State. And as we are speaking in Turkey, there is the Foreign Secretary of Russia as well as Ukraine. And in both areas, they are trying to influence what is going on. And I think that one should be very prudent to try and to predict what will happen tomorrow. We try to speak about energy, but energy is part of it, because when we are speaking today about globalization, I don't know if after these events, globalization will still exist, because it might be also a separation. And for sure, the situation and the sanctions on Russia will influence the energy. And what we see also in the Black Sea with Ukraine, and what Ukraine export to the rest of the world, and Israel as well, will influence it all also. So speaking about energy, I think that we shouldn't take it solely as a problem. I think that in our last sessions that we had, conference or congress that we had, we spoke about energy, and we mentioned that Israel understands that building the pipeline to Europe is not, let's say, a real project. And we got from the US also some kind of indication that they will prefer that we'll do it other way. So we are trying to see how we can export our energy, and we also selected we evaluated what are the options to do it with Turkey, other countries, and especially we as a center advocating for LNG, because LNG is flexible from political situation. Once people will start to speak about a pipeline to Turkey, they will say the situation is not stable. So we are trying to advocate for LNG. Currently, we are selling our energy, or we are exporting it to Egypt, and they have an LNG facility. And the situation with Iran is also complicated, and the alliance that we, with the four foreign ministers, US and other, try to do is to have some kind of alliance that might also influence energy. We are looking forward, and we are very happy to hear from you, President Erdogan, that he would like to meet our Prime Minister. And I think that this is a very good opportunity for the Middle East to reconstruct all the alliances and to see how we cooperate together. With regard to the law of the sea, or UNCLOS, we mentioned that for Turkey, it should be a political solution. You can't go according to the law of the sea and give Turkey its rights in the exclusive economic zone, because it's a technical only. So there are a lot of issues that I try to raise it, but I'm sorry, due to some technical problems, I didn't have the opportunity. But we will do it next time, because we are very happy with the relationships that we have with TESPAM. And I would like to thank you and my friend Oguzhan for giving me this opportunity. Unfortunately, technical problems put some hurdles to it, but we will find another opportunity to discuss it. And since all the events in the Middle East and the Eastern Mediterranean are not going to be finished within days, I think that sometimes it's good to wait and to see the outcomes, and then to try to see what is the solution, the good solution. So thank you very much, and sorry not be able to sharing the presentation with you.
Absolutely. Apologies on our part, Dr. Horef, for this technical issue. And thanks for sharing in a wrap-up summary of your presentation with the audience with us in here. Much appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you again and to talk in more detail about developments in our region. We sincerely look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to us for our panel on East Med geopolitics, law of the sea, and the peace climate. You heard from our professor, Emete Gözügüzelli, speaking from North Cyprus, and Professor Shaul Horev, who is the head of maritime strategy and policy at Haifa University in Israel. And sorry for this technical issue we faced during the session. I hope you were able to still get some good information for reference. And thanks for watching us. And see you soon.